All right, welcome to the final and the 8th week of the Outsourcing Your Niche webinar series. My name is Tyrone Shum, and thank you very much for coming on tonight. I know you've taken out some time to be able to come and watch this webinar, and I really appreciate it. Now, this is a topic that I'm really excited about, and this is something that I can really share with you because this is something that I'm pretty much an authority on. So that way I can show you exactly what I've been doing with regards to outsourcing a niche, and that way I can show you how to bring on virtual staff to help you build your niche as well too. So what I want to do is inside today's webinar is to go through into a bit of detail on talking about steps on outsourcing, and then afterwards or during the call, during this webinar, I'll also go through and show you some simple ways to be able to apply in specific things about your niche website. Before I do that, as always, I'd like to just do a quick recap on what we've done the previous weeks. So let's just jump over and let me give you a quick recap. So over the last 1 to 7 weeks, we've gone through quite a lot of detail on setting up your niche, basically discovering and setting it up, and also to building a niche website. And I've even shown you all the strategies exactly on how to generate traffic to these websites as well. So basically in the last 3 weeks or so, I've talked about traffic strategies. And also too, just last week, I talked about monetization. And there was quite a lot of detail in that one as well, talking about the front end and also the back end as well. Now, this week, as you know, which is the 8th week, I'm going to be talking about outsourcing. And we're going to be looking at outsourcing your niche specifically. Now, the process is quite similar when you talk about outsourcing a business or outsourcing any type of your online type of business, and doing an outsourcing your niche is very similar. The only difference is finding the specific skill set to fit the niche that you've chosen. All right, so that's basically what I'm going to be doing today in today's topic. The first thing I'm going to be sharing with you is we're going to be talking about why outsource. Because the question is it necessary for you and also for your business or for your niche? So I'll be talking a little bit about that and discovering why outsource and how it can actually benefit you as well. The next part I'm going to be sharing with you is also how much does it cost? Because a lot of people will always ask me this question: how much does it cost to hire a virtual staff? And it can vary. You can do it by hourly rate or you can do it by a monthly rate. In my preference, in my business, I usually go for monthly because you get a low cost of per hour. But if you only need them for a few hours a week, probably an hourly rate on a contractor would probably be sufficient enough to do. Then the next thing that I want to share with you is where to find them. So finding where to find the outsourcers. And this is crucial because obviously you can't get any work done without having the outsourcers. So I'll show you some places and locations that I have been using in the past that work really well. And also too, the final thing is once you've got these people on board and you've given them the agreed on an hourly rate or whatever it is, then you just got to decide on what to outsource. I know it sounds very simple and very basic. Can't spell today, sorry. And that's the thing, you can actually outsource everything, but when you first start out, you want to probably just do things step by step. And that's what I'll be sharing with you, is what to outsource today. And then at the end, I'll review everything that we've done over here. All right, so basically that's the topic that I'm going to be sharing with you today, is outsourcing your niche. And it's quite important because there are quite a lot of in-depth detail. And for people who don't know much about outsourcing, this is your opportunity to really ask the questions as well. And I will be covering a little bit more detail in future webinars. I will actually be running a webinar shortly that will be covering more details and in-depth about outsourcing. But that's for another side. But I'll do my best today in giving you pretty much a overview of what you could do to outsource and give you and point you in the right direction of what to do. Okay, so I'll close that up. Now, the first thing, as I said, I'm going to be talking about is why outsource. All right, there's a few reasons why. And we're going to be looking specifically at why outsource your niche. And the beautiful thing about talking about outsourcing your niche is, one, it will save you time. That's one thing. Imagine if you're doing right now and you're spending a lot of time building backlinks, creating a website, sending out articles to directories, building content. Ask yourself, how long is that taking you? It might be taking you 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week. I'm not joking. Sometimes I've spoken to people, they've spent 10 to 15 hours a week just on submitting articles. And it is quite a lengthy task, but once you do it and you do it right, it can be quite quick. Most of the time, at this point in time, I'm probably spending on average about 1 hour a week on my niche sites because all the rest has been outsourced. So if you can bring that down and you can cut it down to like 1 hour a week or less than that, then it's awesome, because at the same time, you're able to spend more time focusing on other things that would be important to you. And I'll talk about exactly how we can do that as well. The other thing as well too, it will speed things up. Therefore, instead of waiting for like 3 or 4 months to get something and start generating income, you probably might do it in less time. So speed is going to be a huge factor in terms of niche, because the market changes so often that if once you're in a niche, you want to be ahead of your competition and you don't want the competition to be ahead of you. So in order to rank number one, you want to be able to get your backlink strategy and also your traffic to your site quickly, and also to start monetizing it. Because once you've dominated at that number one place on Google's, it's quite important to stay up there, and that's where the consistent effort comes in. We can also look at cost. It will be a cost saving, because if you look at it from the point of, say, your time, and say your time's worth $50 per hour, that's just for example, and you pay someone $5 per hour to do all this, you're actually making a huge leverage cost saving of $45. I mean, these are hypothetical. Say you were really working for $50 per hour and you worked it out. What's important is the relativity. And the most important thing is, if you want to be able to really get back time, and that time you could use to spend with family, friends, doing the activities you enjoy and so forth, that could really mean a lot. And therefore, when you look at that relative cost, you are actually making a huge saving of $45 over, say, 10 hours, which is equivalent to roughly $450 per week. Hopefully, you can start to sort of see where that comes in and how that relativity also is helpful in your sense. And then also too, if you don't like the work, like I don't like writing content. So I'd probably say skill set, rather than say don't like. Skill set is something that you'll be able to gain. My fault, I can't spell today. Skill set is, say for example, if you're like me, I'm not a very good writer. I'm better at doing presentations and better at talking than I am at writing. So content and writing content is not my strength. And I've always admitted that that's something that I'm not good at. So I actually can find someone to be able to help me write content and also do it even better than I am. So that's one other thing. It will also help you with administration, because there is a lot of administration that goes behind the scenes that you do require in order to do all this. And if you haven't got that under control, you could be spending your time running around in circles, chasing and answering emails and doing all that thing. And at the end of the day, you end up not making any money. So that's not what we want. We want all these things to be outsourced, so that way you can just focus on generating income for your niche site. Okay. So those are some of the things, basically the reasons why I think you need to outsource your niche. And I think at the same time as well, if you look at a lot of people who have been doing this for some time, they've ended up hiring multiple teams to be able to manage their niche sites. Because if you're managing 50, 60 to 100 niche sites per month, it's going to be almost impossible for you to do it all yourself. And hopefully it will be all on autopilot, but you still need to maintain this. And really, the only way for anything to be passive is to actually either have someone do it for you, so have a resource that will complete it for you, which is people, or have technology, which is tools and so forth, which can be automated as well. For any of these to be passive. All right. So that's really the reasons why. What I want to jump into is now, how much does something like this cost? And I think it's a huge question that people ask. How much does it cost? And you would have seen just then that I just talked about $5 per hour or something like that. All right, well, let's look at 2 points of views. One, there is a contractor's point of view where you pay them an hourly rate. So you can find someone and just pay them per hour. I should just read it per hour. And that can vary depending if you hire it locally. If you hire locally, obviously somebody you'd be probably paying anywhere in the vicinity of probably $10 to $20 if you hire locally. Or if you hire overseas, like I recommend, you can anywhere from like $2 to $6 or so per hour. And that really depends on what type of work. Obviously on the high end, if you're hiring someone to do it for like $6 per hour, it could be a web development, it could be building a website, or anything as content. Content's probably between $3 to about $4 per hour. For $2 an hour, you probably do some backlinking. So those things you can actually hire people to do. The other option is to go for the part-time or the full-time route. And it could be in any type of position. For this instance, in niche sites outsourcing, we'd probably want to be considering hiring a virtual assistant, because a virtual assistant is very versatile, and also too, they're very flexible too, because they're willing to learn different things, and versatile as well. So basically, for maybe a part-timer, you'd be looking at between $200 to $250 per month, and these usually go by monthly rate. For full-time, anywhere between $350 to $400 per month. And I'm talking really specifically about the Philippines. So if you're to find someone for that with good English, with relatively good skill set, you'd probably be looking at those kind of rates as well. So that should give you an idea of what to look out for. All right, so I thought maybe rather than just jump straight into the next part, which is to outsource and where to find them, before I jump into that, I'll give you a quick understanding and overview and how I first started out. When I first started out, I hired a contractor to do a lot of my work. And I didn't do niche sites, but I did a lot of administration type of work, which is answering emails. So I got them to do answering of emails, got them to handle a lot of the customer support, doing a lot of back-end administration type of things, such as submitting posts to the blog or to your niche site. Those kind of things were done on a regular basis, and also link building, such as creating backlinks to the site. I paid around about, if I remember correctly, it was about $3.50 per hour. Yeah, I think it was something like that. And what happened was I probably went, okay, $3.50 an hour was pretty good. I did about, say, 10 hours a week. And as the workload kept increasing, it went up to 10, then 20. Then I realized, okay, once you start paying 20 hours a week times $3.50, it roughly becomes about $70 per week, which is not bad. And you times that by, say, 4 weeks is roughly equivalent to $280 per week. Now, the cost saving would be, I guess, not too much between, say, hiring part-time's like $20 a week. You'll probably save about, $30 or so if you're to hire them on a maximum rate. But the huge cost saving is when you actually start hiring someone full-time. Because, say, for example, you multiply that by 2, that becomes $560. So $560 per month, you'd be looking anywhere of about $160 to almost $200 saving compared to this. And that is quite a lot over the long term if you're looking to do that, say, over the period of 12 months. So that's why it made more sense for me after I hit about the 20-hour mark. I started switching over to hiring people full time. And even if they didn't complete or didn't have much work during the 40 hours that I gave them, those extra 20 hours, I gave that time to them for them to learn more about how to improve and how to get better at building niche sites. And that is part of what would be important for you to consider, because obviously the more training, the more support they get, the better educated they are, the more they can help your business. And when you are looking at doing full-time or part-time hiring of people, you are investing your time and energy and training into them, because ultimately they're going to be running your niche sites for you. And if you can do that well with them, you can actually pretty much walk away and just say, please run this for me, if they're quite competent at what you've taught them. All right. So that's pretty much all on the cost side of things, and hopefully that gives you a breakdown of it. I can't tell you exactly in your situation on what would be best for you, but hopefully just by these guidelines you can see exactly what to do. All right. In the meantime, I'm just going to close that off. I should also say, if you do have any questions, feel free to ask as well on the side. You've got on the right-hand side over here, your little questions box. So feel free to put in your questions if you do have any right now. And I appreciate that if there's anything that you're uncertain about, I'll try and do my best to answer them at the end as well. So the next part is, you might be wondering, where do we find all these people? And I've talked about going to the Philippines to do this. So my favorite place is obviously the Philippines, because the fact is that their skill set is very much similar to United States culture, but also to the skill set and also their understanding of how we all talk and communicate is very similar too. So that's why it makes it so much easier. There are other places you can go and outsource to, and I will give you those various options. And I don't want to make it complicated for you, because I've spoken to people and I've shared a lot with people, and I can go and show you probably about 20 different places to go and find people, but that's not the point, because firstly it'll get you confused, and secondly it's just information overload. So my goal here is to provide you with quite concise information, so that way you can just go to these places and find what you need rather than just look at 20 other places. And I know a lot of people recommend Elance and Odesk and all those, and I don't really recommend those because it is just filled with a lot of contractors and everybody goes to that same place. So in order to be able to get a rate that's reasonably good, you're competing at a higher rate because there's going to be obviously a lot more competition for these people. So places that I found to be effective and hasn't been really heavily hit is, for example, this site here called Fiverr. You may have heard of it, and it has been around for a bit of time, not like 10 years or something. It's a relatively new service, but it is getting the word around. But the basic concept of it is you can get things to be done for $5 for you. So if you wanted to get some backlinking done, if you want to get some articles written for you, this is a great service to hop into to check it out. And all you have to do is simply just post your information that you want to be done or your job to be done, and someone can bid on it and say, look, I'll do it for $5. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of people available on here. So I'd recommend trying this out. This is just a good way just to get started on testing for outsourcing. So if you're doing this for the first time, you've never outsourced before, this is a good opportunity because it doesn't cost you much. $5 is like a cup of coffee or something like that, drink. And if you are willing just to try it out and to give it a go, this is probably the best place to do it. That way you won't be throwing a lot of money at it. So yeah, go feel free to do that. Maybe just to give you some ideas, you can do searches for this. So let's say article writing. If you type that in, you can actually see what other people are offering as well. And that way you can also model off these ads to be able to find the right people that you want. Here we go. So here there's even a perfect article spinner can create hundreds of quality articles. That's an interesting one. I'll give you a powerful content spinner worth $49 for $5. Maybe you want to find someone who can do it for you rather than give it to you. I can rewrite article to 100% unique without having to buy any software for $5. That's okay. I know people are doing it for around about $1 to $2, so see if you can try and bargain for that. You might be able to get 5 of them. So there's nothing wrong with bargaining and going in and giving exactly what you want. So check that out. All right. The next one I want to share with you, this is more targeted towards jobs website. And this is a system that we've pretty much created to be able to access the popular service in the Philippines called bestjobs.ph. For people who out there who have been part of my Mass Outsource Mastermind program, you'll know that you'll get access to this. And usually you'd have to pay about $360 a year, I think it is, $30 a month, to be able to access this service. And you can actually get it within my Mass Outsource Mastermind as bundled in. So that's the really powerful thing about this one. The great thing about bestjobs.ph is that there is a numerous amount of candidates here that are willing to look for jobs and work. And if you are looking for part-time or full-time, this is probably the best place to go for very good, high-quality candidates. So I'm going to go article writer and see what comes up simply by putting a search in. And what will happen is that within this, we've pretty much just taken the information from bestjobs.ph and reviewed it, shown it back here inside our course so that people can have access to it. Say for example this one, let's just click on this first one. It's a few days ago and it's just loading up. But basically you get access to all of their emails and also all of the resumes that are here. And most of the rates that they're going to be providing for you is going to be put into pesos. So 10,000 pesos is roughly equivalent to about $250 per month. This person seems like a good candidate so far. She's unemployed, so therefore she'd probably be willing to work straight away, and she says that. If you go straight down, you can see her qualifications. She's provided an email, so you can have a look, but I don't think that's a very good email, so I might actually just put this one away. Let's have a look. Female, okay. This doesn't look like a very good candidate. As I said, this I'm recording right now, it's live, so I haven't even gone through any of this myself. Let's have a look here. So what I'm showing you right now is examples of bestjobs.ph, and these are some of the candidates that you can actually find inside bestjobs.ph to be able to help you with regards to building your niche site. Some of them are good, some of them obviously are not so good, but you have to obviously filter through these ones. So obviously my servers or access to the internet is not the fastest right now, so I don't know why it's taking a while. Basically, as I was saying, if you came up with this and you've got access to this, you can actually see the content writers, see who they are, get in contact with them because they'll provide you with their email address, their phone number, their skill sets, and pretty much just contact them, say, look, I'd like to offer you this, if that's what it is, and then if they're interested, they'll come back to you and start something up and send work over them. So that's one way of actually finding another potential candidates. The last one that I want to recommend to you is another service called Get Virtual Staff Finder. And, I'll just type it in. It's getvirtualstafffinder.com. And this is a service that is basically helps you find virtual staff for you. There is a one-off fee, which you just pay to them, and they'll go out and do all the interviews for you. And as you can see, it's got a step-by-step showing how it works. Basically, you sign up, you get some tips on what to do. They'll be going out to find the staff for you. They'll test and interview it for you, and then if you're happy with it, basically you hire the staff. And it's a pretty good service because I've used it already. I've recommended to a lot of people too, and it seems to be working quite well for a lot of others. The beautiful thing about this is that this service is located in the Philippines, and it's run by my good friend Chris Ducker, who has an outsourcing company over there. So he has access to these resources, and if you want someone to be at a high quality and have done all that testing for you, just go through this service and you'll get all the interviews and testing and done. And this will save you a lot of time. Now they can do it for both part-time and also full-time virtual staff for you. So there's that option there, and all you have to do is give them the criteria that you're looking for, and they'll go out and find it for you and come back with you with usually 3 different options or candidates. All right, so that's where to find staff, and those are 3 of the sites that I've just recommended to you, which can potentially be a good place for you to outsource to people. Obviously, if you do have other resources or you have friends, family who you can be recommended to and they can do it at a reasonable rate, then obviously speak to them as well. Don't limit yourself to that, but outsourcing can be done in numerous forms. All right, so let's just jump back. what I want to talk to you next is specifically all about what to outsource. Okay. It may be pretty obvious to you, but some people get it wrong still, which is surprising. So I thought I'd share that with you, and just to give you an idea of what to consider to outsource. Now, there's different things that you can look at outsourcing. One, I think the most really tough one or challenging part that a lot of people find is building the website. I have shown you how to building website. I've shown you how to do that back in tutorial. Let's have a look. I think it's tutorial 2. Yes, tutorial 2. And I showed you how to do it through the one-click process. But if you're getting to do some more technical stuff, such as getting more plugins installed, getting a design changed and so forth, I'd highly recommend get that one outsourced. And don't spend your time doing this if you can afford to, because it really does take a lot of time. When there's technical bugs, when there's issues with the site, the last thing you want to do is be sitting there for many hours and many days trying to figure it out yourself, when you could actually be starting to create better content and more content for your site. So that's something that I highly recommend to outsource. That'd be probably your first priority. Get that done first. Second thing is looking at doing the administration sides of things. What do I mean by that? Okay, administration is basically like setting up accounts. Accounts, submitting links, what else is there? There's also emails and so forth. So stuff that you don't really need to do yourself. I mean, you could go and do this yourself, but imagine if you had someone paying $2, $3 an hour to do that for you. It'd save you a lot of time. So administration type of things is something that can be outsourced and should be. Obviously, if you can afford to do it, hire someone like a virtual assistant to do that. I should mention the type of person that you'd be looking to hire for this type is a programmer. And you could, if you wanted to, get a programmer to set all these things up for you, because this is not hard. They're pretty understanding. They can understand how to do that. But what I've done in my business is I've separated this separately. I've got a programmer who focuses on just building websites alone, and then I've got a virtual assistant who handles all this side of things. And that way they can focus and use their skills, their strengths, to the best of their ability for these particular tasks. All right, another topic that I would recommend to outsource is creating content. This is also another huge aspect. And when I refer to creating content, it could be things like articles, which is very powerful. That's what we've been using and teaching inside this whole webinar series. Maybe audio. So they could sit there and read through your articles and convert it into an audio. Then also potentially video as well. And the other things about creating content would be submissions to like Twitter, Facebook, etc. Pretty much the social networks. Now, when you do submissions to these places like Twitter and Facebook, you are creating content. So that kind of stuff can also be created and done by a virtual assistant or a content writer. What I've done is my virtual assistant is very good at writing. So I've given this task to her as well. So you can hire either a virtual assistant to do this and that, or you can have it separated. If you're starting out, as I've mentioned, a virtual assistant's perfect for this, because they don't really need to, they can be trained in this if they're not well skilled in this, or somebody like the virtual assistant who already has a skill set in article writing. All you really need to spend time with them is telling them what to do in terms of that. And if you provide the right instructions and simple step-by-step guides, this is very easy for them to learn and do. So these are 3 aspects that you could easily outsource. Now, the other aspects I'm going to share with you are building backlinks. Now, building backlinks is a process. As I said to you before, and I've shown you in weeks 5 and 6, the traffic generation strategy, this is a process that does take a bit of time. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not some kind of big blast that you do out there and get all these backlinks to your website. But in terms of actually scheduling and getting these links created, someone could actually be doing this for you and sending submissions and writing anchor text for you and getting links and doing all that kind of stuff can be all done as well. And once again, I've just hired a virtual assistant to do that. You could go even a little bit more, one step further. I know people hire SEO experts, and they also do that type of job, and they are a little bit more qualified in this, and you will be paying a little bit higher rate. But this stuff can be easily trained. As you probably are aware, you could probably just take the videos I taught you in webinars weeks 5 to 6 and just give it straight to your virtual assistant. And that'll be sufficient enough for them to know what to do. And they could just follow those instructions step by step and pretty much start building your backlinking empire for your niche site. That's the beautiful thing about this. Just also wanted to mention, welcome to the new people who've just come onto the call. I noticed that there are some people coming on now. We're actually a little bit over halfway, but just to let you know, if you do have any questions and you've got anything that you're wanting to know or hearing throughout this webinar, feel free to put it in on the questions side, which is located on the right-hand side of your panel somewhere there, and just type it in there and I'll answer them towards the end. All right, and the last thing I wanted to share with you is really about monetization, how you can outsource this side as well too. All right. Monetization is all about testing and consistent effort of monitoring. Because in order for any site to be successful, you've got to test it to see where the traffic's coming from. You've got to see there's money being made in the particular site of your website. You got to also test if your ebooks are working, etc., etc. And in this instance, I personally don't do this as much as I should. I should be spending more time testing and consistent effort and so forth. But what I've done is I've got my virtual assistant to do this for me because I'm not very good with following up, and I admit that. I'm not the best. So if I don't follow up with any of you, I do apologize. But just to let you know, that's why I have a virtual assistant who's very, very good at doing that. I work at my strengths. So what I get to do is I provide incentives. So there might be like a monthly bonus for every time she generates income for a niche site. And we can obviously just do that by using a performance report. And through that performance report, she'll be able to tell me, okay, this site has increased by this amount this month. All right, well, I'll give you a percentage of that profit that you've got there, and that's your little bonus there for the month. So you can do that, and that way that will encourage them to take ownership of the site and therefore do the testing, putting the consistent follow-up, putting all those monetization strategies that I talked about last week into place, and really just building it up for you. And that's what she's been doing for me, my virtual assistant. She manages this pretty much full-time, from monetization, building backlinks, submission of content, to everything that you see there. And if you're just wanting to get that all done for you, I'd highly recommend just hiring a full-time virtual assistant just to start out. Even if you can't afford a part-time or somebody who can commit to your business, that would be ideal. The reason why I recommend to hire someone who's committed is because you don't want to spend all that time teaching, training, giving all these resources for them, and after say a month they've finished building that website for you, they'll just move on, and you've lost all that skill set, all that training to them, and it becomes just basically your time wasted. So if you can get someone to commit to your business, commit to building these niche website for you, either on a part-time or full-time basis, hopefully they'll be able to complete all these things for you on a regular basis and stick to your business. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. That's all about what to outsource. There are probably other components that if you need help with, feel free to ask me or send me an email about it. But I've covered the basics and the cores of outsourcing your niche here and what to outsource, because these are the things that I currently have my team and my staff do on a day-to-day basis. Okay. So one thing I just wanted to mention as well, I did get a question going back if I remember, it was like week 3 or something like that. And I'm going to answer this question and probably just talk a little bit about this. This was going back in, this was week 3. The question that was asked back in week 3 was talking about domain and email management. And I think they were referring to that about outsourcing it too. Excuse me. Okay. What I want to share with you then is how to go about handling that side of things and what to do. It's probably best to just draw a little diagram to show you how this is going to work. So let's have a look at domain. We'll put domain here and email here on the right. Now, how to outsource all this kind of stuff. I think what he meant by domain management was basically managing the websites. So in order to do this properly, you probably want to hire a web developer or programmer, or even what we call a webmaster, who's also a programmer as well. This is very much related because they've got the IT skill set. And then you probably want to have maybe a virtual assistant here. What the webmaster and the programmer does is that they manage the buying of your domains. And the most common question that gets asked about this is, how do I trust them with buying domains and using a credit card? Now, not everyone has that kind of trust, and you don't build that trust overnight, so it takes time. But there is a way to actually limit the amount of spending that's done. And if you're using a service like Namecheap.com or oneandone.com, these are 2 domain providers, which I also recommend as well. They have a limit on how much you can spend per month. So what you can do is just put in prepaid credit. Like for example, inside Namecheap, I put in like $80. And obviously $80 doesn't take me very, very far because I could probably buy at most 8 domains with that. But that restricts them from spending too much. If they're asked to set up this, they can just go in and just use that credit that's in there. Therefore, you're not at a risk to actually lose much money. With one-on-one, you pay on invoice if you've set up an account with them. And you can set that up. Anybody can do that. And basically, if you do have a limit on that, you can also tell them to. And I think the limit for that account is $200. So at most, you can spend $200 on domains per month or per whenever. And that way you can limit your risk as well. At least you won't be spending thousands of dollars by accident having someone else, access those domains. So that's buying domains, I think he was referring to. Now, in terms of hosting, as I've said to you, what I would recommend is go to bluehost.com. And with go to bluehost.com, you can host hundreds. I'm not talking, not kidding, hundreds of websites on one server. I know people do this. I do actually. I think I've probably got something like 50 websites on one server already as it is with go to Bluehost. And that's it. You only need one of this and they'll just manage everything for you and link it up to all your domains as well. So that would probably be how to handle or how to outsource this whole side with the domain management and handling that thing. But this in itself is really designed to be handled by one person, to buy the domains, to host the domains, to set up the websites, which is what I just forgot to mention as well, set up websites. This is a job within itself. So if you can, I'd highly recommend getting someone to manage all this for you. It does take a bit of time to find the right person, but once you've found the right person, it really, really makes a difference to helping you with managing the domain and also building the websites. All right, that is one aspect. The second aspect is managing emails. Now, what I usually do is I use Google Mail to handle all our emails coming in. And we don't actually have the domain name at gmail.com kind of email addresses. All of our emails have our domain. So it might be something like contact at mydomain.com. All right. Now inside Google Mail, there is a way to be able to set it up to be like that. And it's not actually Google Mail, it's Google Apps, I should say. Google Apps allows you to do this. Now, people probably know that it's not free anymore. It used to be free to be able to set that up, and you have to pay a monthly fee or yearly fee to be able to access that. But there is actually a free way to get it, and I'll actually show you right now. Let me just close this up, and I'll actually give you the link to it. So you might want to just pay attention to this. If you go to tyronsham.com/resources, I should have it on my resources page, which allows you to access Google Apps for free. So scrolling down, AdWords. Okay, my apologies, it's not this one. It might be under the Mass Outsource Mastermind resources. But basically, there is a resources page that I have, and I've got all the links to it as well. Might not be that one too. Resources.html. And essentially on that page, here we go. So it's massoutsource.com/resources.html. And if you have a look down here, there we go. So I'll circle it for you. There's a link that says Google Apps. If you click on that link, it will actually take you to the Google Apps free domain setup. Okay, here we go. That's the link there. https://www.google.com/a/cpanel/domain/new. They obviously don't make it easy for anyone to find it. So if you did type it up on Google, you won't be able to find it because it'll take you to the paid version. But this is the free version where you can still access Google Apps and set it up. And pretty much every single site that I've set up in the past have always run off this. That's basically how we set up the emails and manage it all for free, and it's all securely done. The other thing is you can use Bluehost's free service, or email service I should say. And they do have their own email service inside that's built in. The thing that I don't like about this is that there's a limit on how much emails you can store. Actually, I shouldn't say limit, but they say it's unlimited, but after a while you should clear it out because otherwise they will go into your account and start reducing it down for you. And also too, it's not very easy to be able to find emails again because it's just a complicated system in my opinion. So that's why I recommend Google Apps. Whoops. And the Google Apps is the mail. They also do have many other functions like Docs, Calendar, and Sites as well, which are really great. These are the three things that I use. I don't use Sites at all, but those are great for just communicating with your team, using it to email people, managing your whole niche website. So hopefully you can get that, and it's all free as I said to you. Okay. Perfect. I hope that sort of just covers pretty much on what to outsource and where to find virtual staff and also how much does it cost. So what I might do is just before we do wrap up, because it is getting very close to the end, and I do encourage you, if you do have any questions, feel free to ask right now because this is your opportunity to. What I'm going to do is just give you a quick overview of what I've talked about today, so that way you know what we've talked about and how this can help you with your niche site building. So the first part I talked about is why outsource. And that was very, very important because I did talk about those important aspects from cost saving to finding skill sets to really leveraging and getting your website and your niche site built much faster. Then I talked about how much does it cost. And that I revealed to you, basically there's two methods. You can look at the per hourly rate or the per monthly rate. And those two rates vary because you've got the contractors and also you've got part-timers and full-timers. After I talked about that, I talked about where to find them as well. And I gave you some examples and sites. And in particular, I talked about Fiverr, which was a contracting type of site and you can get things done for $5. There's also bestjobs.ph, and I did mention that to sign up to bestjobs.ph is about $30 per month. But if you are part of the Mass Outsource Mastermind program, you also get that bundled in for free. So therefore, you don't have to pay that. And also too, I did talk about Get Virtual Staff Finder, which is a service that is run by Chris Ducker in the Philippines, and they go out there and find the virtual staff for you. And all you have to do is just pay an upfront fee, and that one upfront fee will do all the interview process for you, do all the searching and all the hassles that are behind all that. So if you don't want to spend your time doing that, definitely outsource it over to Get Virtual Staff Finder. Then I finally talked about what to outsource. And just now you just saw those different components and areas I shared with you. The first one was talking about looking for a web developer, like building the website, creating all the different domains and so forth that goes behind that. And I talked about getting that outsourced because that's very, very technical. And I don't encourage you to spend your time doing that. You can spend many, many hours and not get a result, and they can do it very quickly for you. Then I talked about the administration side and backend, which is to setting up all your emails, your accounts, and all those things. Get that outsourced to a virtual assistant. Then creating content was the next part, which I recommended either a virtual assistant, an article writer, or content writer. Then I talked about building backlinks as well, which can also be outsourced to a virtual assistant. And as I mentioned, if you want and you don't want to spend time training, you can simply give them weeks 5 and week 6 of my traffic generation strategy, which is the building backlink strategy, to the virtual assistants. And they basically will just take that on, duplicate what's there or learn what's there, and duplicate all the things for you. So they just do it for you and you don't even need to train them. Then also too, I just talked about monetization, which is the testing and generating income. And that can be also given to a virtual assistant or someone who is very competent in that side of things. So those were the things that I talked about in terms of outsourcing, which is, very, very powerful. And literally, if you think about everything I've just talked about, you could literally outsource your entire niche and have someone else manage it, run it, build it, and do it for you. But obviously, you want to do this yourself first, because so that way you understand for yourself how it all works. Because from time to time, you'll probably get the question from them, how do you do this and how do you do that? And you do want to be able to ensure that you yourself understands how this works before going out and getting someone else to do it. Okay, I hope that's covered everything for you today, actually. And I do appreciate you taking your time out to come out tonight to listen to me in the webinar. And it's a real pleasure to be able to share all these great things with you. As I mentioned, if you do have any questions, I'll open it up very soon to do that. But I know a lot of people usually get stuck on this side of outsourcing, and I recently just did a survey. If you're participating in the survey, I think you must have received it yesterday or the day before, and I got easily over 100 responses. And I asked the question, what frustrates people about outsourcing, or what are some of the problems that people face about outsourcing? And one of the key things that I found just from this question that I asked on the survey, and also the problems that they face, frustrates and problems of outsourcing, is not getting started. And I was kind of taken aback, because I thought, to get started shouldn't be that hard. You should be able to go out there and just find the people. And when I look back at my journey, I realized how difficult it was. It took me 3 tries before I actually got the virtual assistant that I currently still have since then. And I really, really wished I had someone who could hold my hand and show me exactly what to do. And this is the thing that really blew me away, was that a lot of people said the same thing. This was a really, really, really big problem, is getting started and where to get help from. So what I'm offering to everyone on the call today, and for anyone who watches this replay as well, is a way where I could give you and also help you and provide some kind of guidance through my Mass Outsource Mastermind program. Now, the Mass Outsource Mastermind program has been only revamped recently. I only actually opened it up over to members in my subscribers list just recently, in the last probably 3 weeks or so, and I've had an amazing response. A lot of people have signed up because you get to be part of a community and so forth. So before I actually show you this, I should have actually shown you the details about it first. Let me just show you the Mass Outsource Mastermind and what you could potentially get inside it if you decide to take up the offer today. So if you go to massoutsource.com/join, this allows you to be able to receive the webinar special offer, which is right here. And there's a video which will show you exactly what's inside it as well. It's just basically, I show you through the Mass Outsource Mastermind and exactly what's in it. But if you click over here where it says start my $1 trial, it will actually show you a breakdown of what's inside. So let me just share with you. There are 3 different options. There's a gold monthly, platinum monthly, and also lifetime membership monthly. And as I said, this program here, I designed it so that way I could hold you through step by step on how to be able to outsource your business. And if you are at this point in time thinking, I don't want to create my niche site myself, I want someone to help me and I really need that hand to, then ideally something like this could actually help you, because I do help you if you join up as a lifetime membership program, which I'll show you right here. I do help you find a virtual assistant. It's bundled into it, help you find, and therefore you don't need to go out there and spend that time doing it for yourself. And furthermore, you'll get a one-on-one coaching session with me. I can sit down with you over Skype for an hour and look at your business, look at your niche site, and assist you with getting your business up and running or getting your niche site up and running. So that's something that is for you to consider. But basically, for every member who joins up to the Mass Outsource Mastermind program, you get access to all the Mastermind training modules. And inside all of that, you also get a lot of the training modules which you can just give straight to your virtual staff. A majority of them are actually for your virtual staff, not for you. It's really for them to be able to just take it, use it, learn, train, and just get started on the work. Furthermore, you get access to the Mastermind forum, which is a really powerful forum that has people interacting with each other, helping answer questions, and really just supporting each other throughout, because people have questions all about outsourcing. And because of that, everyone can really interact with each other and also potentially make some really good contacts and outsource together and move through their journey together. And that's all about the support. Furthermore, I also have inside here as well, life coaching, monthly life coaching, where I come onto a webinar exclusively for you and we talk through and we discuss about things that would probably be questions that you've got about outsourcing. And I'll be doing like a one-on-one coaching session within inside the webinars to be able to answer any of your queries, questions about outsourcing. Furthermore, this is one of the key aspects that I really felt was really powerful, was to actually include the monthly expert interview recordings I've done with these people, such as Yarrow, Starak, Gideon Shorwick, Dan Andrews, Pat Flynn, and much, much more. Furthermore, there's always content that's updated as well inside Mass Outsource Mastermind. So it's not just this course that you've got here. You will always get continuous updates inside the course and new information. I know some outsourcing courses out there just give you the information and hopefully that'll be it. But as you know, the internet changes all the time. And there's always new technology. There's always new resources that come out. There's always new information. So I always update that and give that to everyone that's part of it. Plus also too, you get access to the best jobs website, as I mentioned, the bonuses that you get, as well as virtual assistant blueprint pack and so forth. Now, I don't want to bore you guys with all this information. Feel free to come and have a look at it here. As I said, the link's there for you is at outsource.com/join, and you can get access to all this right now. And as I mentioned, right now I've got a $1 special trial for 14 days. And then after that, you'll get $97 per month. But if you do decide to want to access it for a lifetime, you can get access to it for $799 right now. And I will bundle in, obviously, as I said to you, the one-on-one coaching and also to help you find a virtual staff using the virtual staff finder service, which is valued at $350. Okay, so if you want to access that right now, here's the link to it. This is a $1 trial, only available until next week. It's a limited time, so I'm only going to be opening this up for a short amount of time. And once the offer has been offered out there, obviously people are going to take it up, then I'm going to close the doors to this offer. So basically the special offer is $1 trial. It's at massoutsource.com/join. And as I said, I want to give you as much help as possible to help you get started. And that was the number one thing that I found people struggled with when they wanted to outsource, because when I asked them about it in the survey that I just recently did, and I mentioned as I had over 100 responses, the biggest problem that people had was getting started. So this is all for you, for everyone out there to get utilized and also be involved in if you need the help with. All right, I think that's pretty much it. As I mentioned, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask them on the right-hand side. Otherwise, so far I think I've answered most people's questions by the looks of it, because yes, I've gone through in detail about outsourcing your niche for this week. But as I said, if you do have any questions, feel free to either ask it on the taranshum.com contact page, or you can send me an email at support@taranshum.com. Actually, let me put it here for you. So if you do have questions, you can send it to support@taranshum.com. And either myself or my virtual assistant will respond to you and let you know and answer your questions as well. So yes, feel free to ask anything, any specific questions, any issues that you may have, feel free to ask about it. All right, I think that's pretty much it for today. This is the final and the last webinar for the Outsourcing Your Niche series, and I've really enjoyed sharing this with you. It's been a great 8 weeks. I've had a little break in between, as you know, and obviously we've gone through all the way. And firstly, I just want to say a big congratulations that for all the people who've been following me from the start of week 1 all the way to now. Congratulations, you've made it. All I encourage you to do is to continue to work on it and to take action and just keep working on your niche site, because hopefully by now you should have a niche site already up and running and starting to build those backlinks and start to generate some traffic to your site. I can't guarantee that you have income right now, but if you keep going at it and try to push through and get to the first place of Google, you'll get there. All right. And also too, just want to thank you very much for following me as well. If you do have anything that you wanted to leave any comments about this particular webinar, feel free to leave it at taranshum.com. And I guess I'll keep in contact with everyone, and I'll continue to deliver content and great information for you all. So thank you again for coming onto the webinar tonight. And my name's Taran Shum, and I'll see you inside the next time or the next video that I make.
Now, if you like more resources like this one, you can find them inside Outsource Mastermind, along with video tutorials and step-by-step instructions showing exactly how I use them. To get a 30-day, no-risk trial membership to Outsource Mastermind, simply visit freevideoset.com. Until next time, I wish you success in your quest for outsourcing.